Hi, my name is Kay Hayter, and I am recording this video for the Organizational Development class, Individual Intervention, and what I want to improve about myself for class HRM 460 for CSU Global. So for this individual intervention, after reading everything that was on the SHRM website, I think I could benefit most from advancing my leadership and navigation skills. Right now, those are entry level at best, and I really try not to use them. And being an HR director coordinator is ultimately where I want to be, so I need to get a whole lot better at that before I can effectively do what that job requires as far as managing conflict. For this, I think my biggest weaknesses are just that I'm passive. So I'm not super excited or engaged in work most of the time, except when something's going on and I see a problem that can be fixed. Then I really want to do something, but as I'm trying to say it, come up with a solution, explain to the supervisors, managers, owners, whoever I need to talk to at that business as far as what can be changed, why, and why it would make things better, I lose track of my thoughts. So getting thoughts organized and out in a coherent manner is something that I struggle with a lot, if we're going to be totally honest. So making this video is my way of running into that problem where I tend to try to avoid it, especially anything that involves something that's uncomfortable, like talking to myself right now. So my biggest issue here is my goal. What I want to accomplish is the leadership and navigation. I want to be able to help people, to manage situations, and be that calm when everything is just going crazy. So I've only recently settled on the HR director as a career path for me. Up until this point, I've never had a goal, never really cared. I worked because I had to. I needed a paycheck. And that's the same kind of mentality that I'd really like to help other employees banish. We should want to go to work in the morning. We should be fulfilled. It's not always possible, not for every employee, but it's something that should happen for everybody at some point in their life, I think. It's been quite impressive for me at this point to try and come up with what I need to do to master myself to get to my newly decided goal of being an HR director, ideally at a company that's a decent size. So getting comfortable, learning to be a leader, mastering my nerves when I'm speaking. I'm really good at public presentations and public speaking when I'm doing something I know, but navigating a situation that involves social norms and cultural stuff is just hard for me. I get twisted up and I revert to my default, which is to be quiet and not say anything at all. I think the best way I can give myself an individual intervention and maybe help future and potential employers give me what I need is coaching and seminars. And having a mentor would be ideal, but those don't just fall out of the sky. You kind of got to luck into them and look for them. So enrolling in different seminars, even if they're online, doing just a video chat back and forth. A scenario is given, always very awkward, where you're trying to role play a scenario. Role playing is terrible. I hate it. But it's a huge cornerstone of HR, what they do and how they develop employees. And I understand the importance of it because it really does help. So I want to have a blueprint that I can use when I'm talking to people to fall back on. Like if you want to push an agenda for something you want to implement, you should know you need to bring it to this person first, and this is what they're going to want. This is what's going to convince them that you're right, and it's going to help the company thrive. For me, I've personally very recently taken a step back and not done what I feel like I should have done. I was working on a team of about 6 women. There was no clear defined hierarchy or leadership. It was just kind of a free-for-all. So 2 of the women ended up vying for power, for lack of a better word. And whenever they would start going at it or having their little struggles for who was going to be more dominant in a situation, who would win, me and the other girls included just kind of said, hey, that's not my job, not my problem. I'm going to keep doing what I was hired to do, and we're going to leave it at that. Never bringing it to the supervisor, the owner, and telling her, like, hey, this is not working. And every time it happens for the next week, the rest of us are walking on eggshells, and it just kills productivity, because anytime anyone says a word, we just kind of stop and wait to see who's going to yell, who's going to scream, because it happens. And it just kind of kills the whole work environment. You don't really want to get up and go in the morning. So in something like that, now that I've stepped back, not at that job after I moved, I feel like I really should have stepped up, and I'm pretty disappointed in myself that I didn't. Being what I'm in school for, I feel like I should have stepped up to be that business management leader, to be that HR representative, brought both of those women together with the owner of the company and said, hey, you know what? This isn't working. We need a chain of command, because this can't keep happening. We have to have some sort of flow and rhythm and know what to expect when there's not the owner there to be the deciding tiebreaker or factor in it. Somebody needs to be in control when the owner's not there. It's not good for any of the 150 employees here to think that if the girls in the office are fighting each other because the owner's gone, that's a problem, because the owner's getting ready to retire. It caused a lot of issues, even to the field guys who very rarely came into the office, because the mood was just sour. Knowing what I know now, especially after going through this particular course as far as organizational development, which is making sure the organization continues and thrives, is something that I really wish I had been able to implement and fully grasp a little better while I was there. Knowing now that I'm better prepared and able to is a little terrifying, because I have to actually do it to follow through and be a good human resources director at some point. So for all of that, my biggest competency issue right now, even still at the entry level, is the leadership and navigation. I need to be able to navigate those social waters better. I need to be able to step up and lead without being a dictator and saying, hey, you know what, my way or the highway. It needs to be a compromise focused on where the organization wants to go, what their goals are, and the employee morale that's going to go along with it. I want to be that good HR director eventually. I know that starts at the entry level, and you have to build your foundation, work your way up. So I'm hoping by enrolling some of the classes that SHRM offers, as well as completing my degree, hopefully in the next couple of months, I should be much more able and prepared to step into that role and get more comfortable handling conflicts where people who might not necessarily be above or below me on the food chain are having issues, and there's no one to step up or no one willing to, so I need to learn to be comfortable to be that person. The only way I'm going to do that is through actually getting in those situations, hopefully being able to practice in a controlled environment beforehand through the seminars or the coaching, or if I'm so lucky, by finding a mentor.